Hey Hashtag, it's Liz, the executive producer for Hashtag That, and today we are lucky enough to get an interview with Kristin Bernstein, who currently works as the producer as Only Murders in the Building. Besides that, she's the producer for Evil and The Good Wife.
Hi, I'm Kristin Bernstein. I am currently a line producer on a show called Only Murders in the Building, which airs on Hulu. That's it. That's what I have. That's where I am right now.
Starting off, what is the most memorable project to you that you've worked on?
Okay, I guess that's easy. It would have to be The Sopranos, I would say, because it was, besides being just a phenomenon and an amazing show, it also ran, I think it was 7 seasons that ran over the course of almost 10 years. So what was great about it is we would do however many episodes we did, and then we could go to another show and then come back to it. So we'd always be able to go somewhere else, do something else, and then come back. And it just was, they're all great. They're all impactful, but this one was super impactful because it was truly a phenomenon. It was kind of happening almost as live can be. And I just don't think, it's such a rare thing to be on something that is so culturally phenomenal and a phenom, and you knew you were on something special every minute of every day. So it just was an unbelievable experience that I think sometimes when you're filming movies or whatever, nothing happens. You film it and then it goes to the editing process, and then you're so far away from it when it comes out. This was happening instantaneously. And it just really changed television, the way people see television, view television. I think it made people want to be on television who had only done features in the past. So it was just groundbreaking. And so that was an amazing thing to be a part of.
Yeah, as I mentioned when you came to class, I'm a big fan, and I told my sister, who's an even bigger fan, and she was like, oh my gosh, you're gonna interview her, that's so cool. I was like, yeah.
It's amazing because when we were shooting that show, Sex and the City was we were in the same building, the same studio. So it was just like 2 phenomenons going on at once. And that was really just being there and experiencing all that together was just pretty magical. Doing the movie, I did the movie Enchanted, original Enchanted, and, stuff like that, like doing a musical and animation and all that kind of stuff too is also quite magical. There's a lot of magic in what we do, and not every day and not every show, but that one was also really new, fresh, and exciting. And that had a major impact as well.
Yeah, that must have been a big jump to go from The Sopranos to Enchanted.
Well, it was, but again, we got to do other projects in between. So you get to do this amazing thing, and then you get to do an amazing project, and then go back to kind of what was home and family, kind of. So, and most people stayed on Sopranos. That's the other thing. Most people stayed for all of the whole amount of time that we were there. So you really become a family. And that's a whole, that's part of this also. A lot of these jobs that we do have a beginning, a middle, and an end. So sometimes, as great as a job can be, it's amazing, but it ends and it's so sad. And then you can get on a bad job. And when that's over, you're like, yay,
Yeah.
It's finally over. But that one, we all never wanted it to end because it was so awful.
I know the fans didn't want it to end either.
I know.
How would you compare working on a TV series for a streaming platform compared to one on network television?
There's not that much of a difference, except that when I started doing network shows, network meant the shows that I was doing 22 episodes a season. So that was 9 to 10 months. It's a lot. It's a marathon. It's a real marathon. And most of these streaming shows are half the time. So when I was doing network television and that many episodes, you can only do really one job a year. So you're kind of committed fully to that. And again, it is a true marathon. At the end of that period of time, you cross the finish line and you're dead. until it starts again. Whereas with these streaming shows, they're usually 10 episodes, 12 episodes, maybe 13. So it's a much shorter period of time, and you can fit more shows in to a calendar year. So I like, I like them both. Like there's some people want to be in one spot for a long time. Like some people like going to work and sitting at the same desk every day of their lives. I think most people who do this business, we very rarely go to the same desk every day. We're always outside on different locations. So for us getting on a 22 episode show at one time, it was the closest to a desk job that you can have, or being steady, being, a steady source of income, knowing what's coming, not having to worry about the next job so much, because we're all freelance. But then again, we're also, I think, people who like to move around a lot. So it's odd for us to be in the same place for so long, because movies don't usually last 9 months or 10 months, So I like both. I think I like the shorter orders better because you can do more things. You can jump from one to another.
Which of your past projects has taught you the most?
I can honestly say that every project probably equally teaches. A great question. I learn something different on every project, even if it's the same project that I go to, like when I was on Sopranos or I was on Good Wife or something. I stayed there for a long time, and every season there was something new to learn. That's another reason why I like jumping from project to project, because everything has a different subject matter. Like going on Only Murders is the first half-hour comedy that I've ever done, even though it's not. It's a dramedy, I guess. So learning comedy was really something that I wanted to do. So I really learned something new on every project, and every project is not always the same people. So there's always something to learn from just one person doing something differently. Sometimes you learn on a small scale, subject matter. Sometimes you learn really on a large scale. I did a show called Evil, which had all of these kind of special creature characters that are special effects makeup. And that particular show taught me a lot about every department having to communicate. Like nobody could be off doing their own thing, because it's like if you're making this creature, the wardrobe department has to know how the creature moves in order for it to cover the creature if it needs any kind of costuming. And then makeup needs to know how it moves. Stunts needs to know how it has to move. So everybody, just pulling people in order to get everybody on the same page, because if one thing doesn't work, the whole thing can be like completely messed up. And sometimes you have projects where people can just kind of go off on their own and, buy furniture for a set and design a set. And even though there's a fair amount of communication, this really required a different level of everybody meeting and collaborating together. So, each project gives you something new, which is great, which is what keeps it fresh and exciting.
You don't think about it when you're watching something, how like one department correlates with another.
Yeah. So. And it's really a lot of this whole thing that we do is, I always think of it in my head as a dance kind of, and it's highly choreographed and coordinated. But yet at the same time, people are off doing their own little individual thing, but you really have to, like, a job as a producer is really getting everybody to communicate and make sure there's no surprises and everybody's on the same page. So it's kind of forcing people to communicate all the time. That's the wrong word, but the more communication you have, the more everybody understands what's going on and the less room for error, I think.
How would you describe your experience as working as the producer for Only Murders in the Building?
Oh, it's been great. It's been really great. Again, it's comedy. I was not on the first season. I just watched it as a fan. And so that was really fun to step into the second season and just see how, just be new to it all, have it be new to me, but old to other people that were here. It's been great. I mean, but it's very different. It's a highly, the mystery of it also means you kind of have to know where the story's going. So with clues and props and everything, you have to know that before actually like getting to that specific episode. So there's a lot of back and forth between things that happen in flashbacks, things that happen ahead of time. So I don't know, it's just been really fun. The people here are so talented. I mean, just everything they do, the costume design, the production design, the set decoration, the sound, it's all, again, a bunch of elements working together, and it's comedy, and that has a whole different pace to it and different things that you don't necessarily do on dramas.
You're saying it's a mystery, like that must make it so much more difficult, because there's definitely some super fans out there that are going to notice if something doesn't match up.
They do, big time. There are so many times where we want to just take a giant leap of faith and say no one will notice, and everybody notices. There are such major fans to the show. They notice everything. So we have to be really, really careful about any holes in our story and things that don't make sense or things that don't match. We have to be really careful because we get called on all of it.
What can fans expect for next season?
Oh, I can't say that. It's going to be great. It's really going to be great. Taking a little bit of a new direction, but so much fun. Everyone is going to be thrilled, I think. Just gets bigger and better.
That's all I have for this week on #that. We'll be right back after this commercial break.